Well, hello, my name is Tammi Wallace, and I am one of the co-founders and the president and CEO with the Greater Houston LGBT Chamber of Commerce. And I have the great pleasure today to talk to Stephen Carter, who is with the Fort Bend Entrepreneurial Initiative. Do I have that right, Stephen?
Yep, you do.
Okay, good. And so, we wanted to talk today, share more about this incredible program that's being offered through Fort Bend County. Of course, Fort Bend, to my recollection, is one of the fastest growing counties in the country, if I'm correct with that stat, Stephen. And I just love the leadership that Judge George is reflecting in this program to make sure to support businesses during this pandemic, and certainly when this type of support is needed so much to help businesses get not only from A to B to C, but I can't wait to hear more about this program, about how you're going to help them thrive even beyond this pandemic. Yes. But with that, let me allow you, if you would, introduce yourself. Tell us more about you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Tammi. Look, first of all, thank you and the Chamber for inviting me to have a word with you guys. I'm excited to be here. So my name is Stephen Levi Carter, and I'm one half of the Carter Brothers, or Carter Brothers Consulting Firm. So I actually have a twin brother, and we both jointly own a consulting firm. And we've been in business for several years. We're kind of serial entrepreneurs. And so we have about 8 companies that we run. We just can't get enough of business to love it.
So you just know you don't sleep then, right? Is that
no? Okay. I don't sleep. But sleeping is for suckers. I don't sleep.
There you go.
But no, but we've bumped our head a lot, and we've ran through a lot of obstacles, and so we've learned by fire how to do things well, and maybe some things to avoid and not repeat. And so we're just kind of passionate about sharing that with others, especially new entrepreneurs, and kind of in that maybe they've started a business, but they've not really just exploded quite yet, and they're looking for that just one little niche, one little thing to just make their business explode, right? And we talk about it all the time, that the business and being successful in business, there is a science to it, and it's not an art. It really is a science, and we just want to share it with people. And so that's what the Fort Bend County Entrepreneur is all about.
So I was going to say, it's not just about throwing something against the wall and seeing what sticks, right?
No. It's probably not going to be a good use of your time.
Yeah. Well, I love, running 8 businesses with your brother, and you bring this pure entrepreneurial mindset, of course, not only, to everything that you do every day, but to this program. And I can only imagine why the two of you were selected with your success, your track record, and knowing how to run businesses, and how much education and literally knowing the nuts and bolts of how to run a successful business is now more important than ever, right? So with that, tell us a little bit more. Give us some details. What does the program look like? Give us some specifics about maybe what a day-to-day looks like for a participant in the program.
Absolutely. Great question, Tammi. And let me step back a while. Obviously, the pandemic has negatively impacted businesses across our nation, right? And small businesses are the economic driver for our entire country. Small businesses, I think that the statistic is that they employ about 80% of the total population. And so obviously we want to ensure that small businesses survive, and that continues to build the economy for Fort Bend County. They recognize that, our government recognizes that. And so what happened in 2020 was that one of the elements of the CARES Act that was passed down from the federal government was an opportunity to push funds into local cities and counties to try to prop up the economic landscape, if you will, for small businesses. And part of it was that we're just going to give you money, right? We're going to give you grants. We're going to put some cash in your pocket and help prop you up. But the reality, Tammi, is that just throwing money at it doesn't always solve the problem, because what we're looking at now is a new normal, operating in a new normal. And that means that, before March of 2020, you may have had a brick and mortar, location, And now no one is leaving the home. And so you've got to go totally online. So what does that look like? How do you change your product? How do you change your service? So Fort Bend County recognized that they needed to put not only money, but they also needed to place operational excellence along with how to help businesses survive. And that's how the Fort Bend Entrepreneur Initiative was derived. We basically said, we're going to come in and provide the counseling services to businesses to give them the strategic knowledge and wherewithal to recreate their business, survive, revive, and rebound from all of this turmoil that we're in. So day in a life looks like you come into our program, join the program. We're going to start off by doing an assessment of your business, asking you a few questions about where you are, maybe how many employees you have before the pandemic, how many employees you have now, what your sales look like. And we give you a business plan, basically a business recovery plan, a written, customized recovery plan for your company on how to rebound. And then we set you up with a one-on-one consultant, and that one-on-one consultant goes through the plan with you and talks specifically about your issues and the things that you're going through. And then we take that information that we obtained through that one-on-one consultant, and we say, okay, here are these virtual courses and masterminds and conferences and all these other tools that we give you to help build you up and prop your business. And so it's customized to fit the needs of that entrepreneur. Some people want to go through everything. Some people pick and choose and just pick little pieces. But as an entrepreneur, I get it, right? Because as an entrepreneur, and this is people, right? Some people are visual learners, some are audio, some are, right? So everything doesn't work for everybody. So we want to give you the tools that you need to create the success package that you can.
And just hearing that one-on-one consulting, I mean, well, a business recovery plan, which is so crucial right now to help give you that roadmap, right, to survive, these challenging times and get through this pandemic. But then to have one-on-one consulting, that it sounds like it's just such a wraparound in terms of supporting business owners.
That is so true, Tammi. And what happens is that as you dig into a business, you may see that one business really needs help with marketing. Okay, we can help you out with that. Set you up with a specialist that all they do is do marketing. Or it may be, oh, I need to recreate my brand. I need a new logo. I need a new look. I need a fresh website. My HR department isn't going all that well. I don't hire good people, and I can't keep people at my company. They keep leaving. Okay, we set you up with an HR specialist. So we try to find those problems that are within your company and assign you with someone who will work with you on that specific area to get you better.
Incredible. And so what in terms of this program, what's the cost associated with it?
That's the beauty of it. It is totally free. For any Fort Bend County resident, this program is totally free. And so all of the aspects, everything we just talked about, all it's really paid for through all the CARES Act funds that came through the federal government and passed on through. And as you mentioned, Judge KP George and the rest of the Commissioners Court really understand what it takes to keep their county solvent. And so they're like, listen, we're going to invest our dollars wisely. And it's worked out. We have over 700 businesses that are currently in the program. They have seen phenomenal results. And one of the other initiatives that we really wanted to get out of the program was, when we first looked at how the pandemic was impacting America in general, right? We realized that the impact in certain communities was more prevalent than in other communities, right? And so Judge George and the rest of the team said, yes, we want to prop up small businesses, but make sure that you reach out to our LGBT community, our Hispanic community, other minority communities, other disadvantaged communities, the veteran community. So we've had some very specific initiatives about reaching out to certain communities that are unfortunately sometimes left behind, not highlighted, and we want to highlight them and make sure that everybody wins.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I so appreciated getting the email to ask about how can we get more LGBTQ entrepreneurs engaged. And as I'm sure I mean, it means so much to a community like the LGBTQ community when, programs are actively, intentionally working to include our community, to participate and make sure that they're fully inclusive. And it sounds like that this is, something that's just ingrained in the program, as it's so important to make sure it's an inclusive program, and specifically including LGBTQ entrepreneurs.
That's absolutely the case. That was a part of the initial objectives on the onset. It was embedded into the program to make sure that we reached out and reached every community. So it's definitely a goal of ours.
Well, so I'm just sitting here thinking, and I applaud, Judge George and the Commissioner's Court for, as you said, I mean, not just taking the money in and sending it back out, but creating a program that really hopes to lay a solid foundation in terms of sustainability and getting to that not only survive piece, but that thrive piece beyond that. And what vision from the leadership in Fort Bend County to say, let's create a win-win here to make sure these businesses, I mean, that's a plus. After we get through this pandemic, they're now thriving and hopefully beyond many of the challenges because of this program. What that will do for Fort Bend County and shoring up the small business community.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, we're already in the fastest growing county, right?
Yeah.
I mean, almost in the nation, which is amazing. One of the most diverse counties in the nation. I mean, Fort Bend County is almost like a case study of how things should be done, right? Properly done. So we're really excited about the leadership, the Commissioner's Court, just understanding what's really important, especially when we start talking about D&I, diversity and inclusion, and where the sea winds have started to change, and how right now is the time to just really focus on equality for every community. And I'm just so excited to be a part of a program and a part of a county that understands that and puts it in the forefront.
Well, I have some more questions about the program, but for those listening, they may want to go and visit the website just to learn more. Can you share the website?
Yes, so the website is fortbendentrepreneur.com, fortbendentrepreneur.com, all one word. Entrepreneur can be a little tricky to spell sometimes, but you can definitely Google it. But yeah, go there. It's a great landing page with a lot of good information, a really easy sign up process. And from there, we'll contact you and walk you through all the steps.
So I was on the website when I was preparing, for our conversation, and I just saw this incredible list of experts that you have, and you talked about some of that marketing, HR. Can you talk a little bit more about that team, because that's impressive just looking at that remarkable list of experts that you have involved.
But Tammi, I'm so glad you mentioned that, and this is something that's really important and near to me, because as an entrepreneur, right? So we all have gone, most of us have gone to college, and sometimes you go and you get taught a class by a professional professor, right? A seasoned veteran professor. And a lot of times they are teaching what they've been taught, but they haven't actually walked the walk, right? So it is very difficult for me sometimes to get mentorship, coaching, advice on business from someone who hasn't owned a business before, or who hasn't actually been out there in the trenches, who doesn't know my plight, what it feels like it's Friday is payroll, and I got to figure out, do I pay my house note or do I pay my employees, right? You got to understand what that's about. And so, that's why it's so important that we have a total of 18 consultants that are part of this program, and they all have walked the walk. They are entrepreneurs, and they have learned this by fire. And so they're not just talking about something that they read in a book. They're giving you the exact things that they've been through. And so there's a level of understanding where that person is, right? And the communication is just a little bit different. But we do have experts. They have all the pedigrees in terms of education, but they have all the hard knocks knowledge in terms of experience and being out in the game for a long time, and just a brilliant group and a very diverse group as well. So we want to make sure we had diversity. So we have a big push to get out to the Latinx community. So we have Spanish speaking professionals as well, and diversity from an Asian and African American, and all aspects to make sure we represent what the county itself represents.
I was going to say, truly reflecting Fort Bend County, which is, such remarkable diversity in and of itself. And of course, the region in so many ways. So you told us about the website, and I heard say the first step, I think, is to apply. I know for some business owners, when they start thinking about an application process, and then it's like, okay, then they tune out. Walk us through the application process and what that looks like.
Yeah, great question. So you really go to the website, click on apply. The only part of the application process, the only reason for this kind of, the few steps that are in there, is that one of the elements of the CARES Act is that they want to ensure that your business was actually in operation prior to the pandemic. Because the goal of the program is to help companies to, as you mentioned earlier, survive and thrive the pandemic, right? So this is not necessarily a program for startup businesses. It's more so for those businesses that were, even if you started your business in 2020, the early part of 2020, you'll be okay for that inclusion. So they want to make sure that one, you are a resident of Fort Bend County, or your business is located in Fort Bend County, and that you had a business that was in operation prior to the pandemic coming on. And beyond that, just kind of demographic information, and that's generally it. But it's not going to be anything close to like getting a grant or free money or applying for a loan. Like, we're not talking about a 10-page process, one page, and you're done.
So what are you saying for those entrepreneurs? You said, I think you had 700 participants at this point?
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you saying? Can you share maybe a couple of success stories that those listening can really, wrap their arms around and get a really good idea of what the program can do for them?
Well, yeah, I'll even just talk about, we just had a virtual course today. And so we have virtual courses that happen every week, Tuesday and Thursday, or Tuesday or Thursday. One week it's a Tuesday, the other week it's a Thursday. Normally 12 noon, they last about an hour. And we want to make it as efficient as possible because we know entrepreneurs don't have a lot of time. Let's get it in and out and get going. Today's topic was, how will your business products and services look different after the pandemic or going through the pandemic, right? And so we talked about how consumer behaviors have changed now that the pandemic has hit us. So many things have changed, right? We're obviously right now we're on a Zoom call, when in the past we would have been face to face. But what's happened from a consumer behavior standpoint is that people have grown closer with their loved ones. You're spending more time at home. Health is so much more important because people realize how important it is to be healthy. And obviously we're buying stuff that comes in Amazon boxes at the door. My wife has like 2 or 3 boxes at the door every day. I don't know what she's ordering. I can't figure it out. But what we talked about today was, how do you change your mindset, your business, your service offerings, your product offerings to fit the new mindset of the new consumer. So we had so many aha moments just on the call today from people just basically saying, you know what, I'm going to change my business to do it this way, or I'm going to change it to do it that way. And, our goal is that even if it's just like, if we have 1 hour phone call, 1 hour course, if you got one thing out of that 1 hour that substantially is going to make a difference in your business, then it was worth it, right? It's just, no one's going to, like the full hour, you're not getting nuggets throughout the entire thing, but you hear that one little piece and it's like, that's it. If I do that, it makes all the difference. And that's what we're looking for. And that happens over and over and over again. And those businesses that stay in the program and take advantage of it, and here's the hard thing, Tammi, is that as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, just in general, we're just busy, right? We're all busy. We tend to not be able to find the time to take out just an hour to do this. Where am I going to find the time? But it's like you're investing in yourself and in your business and this personal development. And so I just encourage all of our entrepreneurs to say, you know what, sometimes when you're just swimming out there and you're drowning, you just need someone to throw you that lifesaver for just a little bit, just to hold you on top of the water, just to get a little information.
It reminds me of that, you know, we continually hear working in the business versus on the business, right?
Yes.
And I think, you know, I mean, there's a lot of working in the business right now. People are trying to survive, but if you want to survive through the pandemic and beyond, you've got to be working on the business. That big buzzword right now is pivot, right? How do you make yourself relevant going forward? And it seems like to me to have a program like this where you have this one-on-one consulting helping you devise a plan, it's just a no-brainer to help you be successful.
Absolutely. And it's free.
Yeah, and it's free, which is you know,
No
I mean,
brainer.
and I can only imagine the connections, right? I mean, connecting with you and your team, the consultants, the other participants that just are just some of the maybe the unintended expectations for the program, but that just naturally happen from this.
I mean, that point, and I'm so glad you brought it up, is so important. Entrepreneurs, and it's not just entrepreneurs, you feel anyone in a leadership position, right? It's lonely at the top is what you always hear.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you just need to know that you're not the only one out there struggling. You know, it's just, it feels good to know it's not just you by yourself. You're not out on this island. There are other people that are going through it with you. And then you start to develop, you know, relationships and accountability partners that say, okay, we went through this course. We talked about the things that we're going to do. Now you have to actually go back and implement them. Did you do it? You know, we're going to hold you accountable. And then there's also opportunities to partner with someone, right? As we're growing and challenging and doing different things, you might find a new supplier, a new vendor, a new subcontractor that you can use. You know, entrepreneurs, a lot of times we think that we have to do it all, and you really don't. Stay in your lane, stick with what you're really good at, and find someone else that can help you out on the other stuff. Farm that out so you can have less stress, less to worry about. But that's so.
That is priceless advice right there. I mean, priceless. So just want to just touch really quickly on, I know, again, you know, thank you again for reaching out to make sure that LGBTQ entrepreneurs in Fort Bend are included. What would you say to those LGBTQ entrepreneurs in terms of the program welcoming, inclusive? I know you touched on this a little bit, but specifically thinking about, you know, LGBTQ entrepreneurs who may think, well, I'm not sure if I'd be comfortable, or could I be my authentic self? Maybe they have a business that centers on the community. Share some thoughts around that.
So Tammi, I'm really glad you brought that out. You know, I think we talked about earlier about how the winds are changing, and we're in a different environment now than we have ever been. I think that from a political standpoint, from a corporate standpoint, addressing LGBTQ issues or concerns or inclusion is much better than it's been in the past. I mean, clearly a long way to go, but it's better than it's been in the past. And so we're definitely in a time where corporations and businesses are recognizing the importance of being inclusive of all parties, right? And of course, Fort Bend County understands that, which is why they incorporated that as a part of this business. But what we recognize is that the LGBTQ community has a very, very unique challenge in and of itself, right? So not only are you a female-owned business, but you're a female LGBTQ business. Or not only are you a Black female, you're a Black female LGBT. I mean, all of these things that are layered on top of each other. So your struggle is a lot different. It's much more challenging. And so we recognize that. We want to support those items. We want you to be your unique and authentic self. Because if we're all not unique and authentic, then we're not going to survive. If we don't find our passion in what we do, then we're not going to be successful. And I mean, to be an entrepreneur and to go through all of this stuff, you want to do it because you're happy, because you love what you do. And so, and it shows as well. It shows in everything that you do. So we're open, we're inclusive, and let's just be honest. If anyone doesn't understand that it makes money, it makes economic sense to be inclusive at this point, I just don't know what else would, I don't know how else to put it to people, how you can't get that right.
So, it's that frame of, look, when African American entrepreneurs, when Latino entrepreneurs, when LGBTQ, when everybody's successful, we all win, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. But in order for us to be successful, and particularly working together to raise up Fort Bend County so everybody can win, everybody needs to feel included. Everyone needs to feel that it's, an inclusive environment. And that is exactly, I just love hearing about this program and the active, recruitment of different communities, and why that's important, not only to Judge George and Commissioner's Court, but just why it's important for business in Fort Bend County, as, of course, one of the most diverse counties in the country. So, well, as we wind up here, anything else you want to share? And if you would, mention the website for us again.
Absolutely. So Fort Bend Entrepreneur, FortBendEntrepreneur.com is the website. And I'd love for you guys to go out and check it out. You'll see a lot of information there on the website. A couple of things that I do want to mention. We do have a large conference, a virtual conference, that's coming up on March 27th. Excuse me, we're really excited about that. It's normally it will be on a Saturday. It will be about 5 to 6 hours, and it's just jam-packed with virtual courses, virtual breakout sessions where you can just kind of deep dive into your business and what you need to do differently. And that's kind of going to be the culmination of our program. At this point, it is slotted to end on March 31st. So we want to encourage everyone to get in the program as quickly as possible so we can give you as much access as we can. I do want to mention that we also have a learning portal that's available. And kind of like we mentioned earlier, some people just kind of want to go at their own pace, do a DIY kind of thing. And if that's the case, then there's a portal that has over 350 modules that people can go through on their own. And that way they don't have to worry about going to a course or signing up with a one. So there's so many facets to the program that you'll find something to be successful. And at the end of the day, our only goal is to make sure that everybody wins. I know, Tammi, you and your team are committed to that. We appreciate everything that you guys are doing, your support of the LGBTQ community. By the way, shout out to Outsmart, and those guys just love you over there, by the way. So they couldn't say anything but great things about you guys. But just thanks again for everything you're doing.
Outsmart, one of our founding members, as we're getting ready actually to celebrate our 5-year anniversary this year. And and Outsmart has certainly been a big part of our journey. So I'm glad you were able to connect with them. And they are, of course, the leading LGBTQ magazine in Houston and the region. Yeah. So glad you were able to make that connection. Well, I want to thank you for your time, and again for reaching out to the chamber to share this program. We've been promoting it. We're going to continue to promote it, and I do want to encourage those that are listening, particularly our LGBTQ entrepreneurs, but also our BIPOC entrepreneurs, to participate. If you're in Fort Bend County, this is a tremendous program for you to access, and there's no cost to you, but you get all of these incredible resources. And Stephen, keep up the good work. This is just, this is amazing. And whatever we can do to help, we love seeing this type of work going on to support entrepreneurs in our city, our county, our region, all of that. Because again, when we lift up entrepreneurs, we are lifting up our economy, and there's so much amazing work that we can do together. So
I totally agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.